All right, fastest 15 minutes on the internet, fastest 15 minutes in social media. My name is Judson Powell. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit all of the buttons. And thank you very much. So I want to talk about the crux of the matter. The crux of the matter being in the Kwame Brown situation. And I know it's like this stuff is like all over now, all over the internet. And there's a lot of stuff going on. But here's the thing. You got to look at this all from the standpoint of the truth that Kwame Brown and others like him, I think he had Kenyon Martin and a couple other players that came out basically being realistic. Only thing we have to do is we have to look back to what? We have to look back to the National Football League draft. And during the National Football League draft, they didn't draft not one person from an HBCU, knowing that there were players that were worthy to be drafted, but nobody was drafted. The whole thing has to do with systemic racism. All of this stuff is about, and as he has said, it's all about the money. So and that's why I've been trying to get y'all to really wake up, because you have to realize that when somebody gets $1 billion or somebody gets like millions and millions of dollars, that means that they have to be quiet and they have to keep their mouth shut. And what Kwame has been talking about, to go along to get along, you have to do it, or else they'll get rid of you. And, they'll get somebody else who will go along to get along. And that's the problem. We always have like somebody that's willing to go along to get along, and at the expense of other people. And I can go deeper than that and say there's no way you could be the overall #1 pick in the NBA draft and be a bust. And there's no way in the world that you can buy your mama a brand new house and be a bust. There's no way in the world that you can come from the country and go to the big city and have everything, all expenses paid, and they paying you millions of dollars, and they paid you millions of dollars over 13 years. They not gonna pay you millions of dollars as a bust. It's not gonna happen. It won't ever happen. And so, that's what I want y'all to see. And the same thing with all this stuff about Stephen A. and Charlamagne. They get paid. Okay? They get paid to put us down. That's what their whole deal is. They get paid to put the other players down. They will, try to get former players or former whatever, and they go on there, and it's like I was saying, and it happens in every field. It's not just that field, They use you, and then when they use you up, they get rid of you, and they come up with a reason why they have to get rid of you. And I think the most poignant case of this is Bill Cosby. I mean, they don't even play Bill Cosby shows on TV anymore. His whole entire fortune basically was destroyed before he was ever even convicted of a crime. And all this stuff, and the cancel culture is affecting, because we never had nothing from the beginning. So it's affecting us a lot worse. And then finally I gotta talk about Jessica Reed. Jessica Reed was the girl that Charlamagne the God allegedly raped. And but he came in there with a political machine, so to speak, and they got her to plead to a lesser included, or got him to plead to a lesser included offense. But nobody is interviewing her. Nobody is going to her and interviewing her and talking to her and seeing what's going on with her and making sure that she's all right. See, that's what I'm saying. Y'all just, she's the lowest of the pawns in the game. She's the lowest of the pawns in the game. And nobody is coming to her defense, or nobody is coming to her rescue. The police certainly did not, and that's another problem. Because we don't get treated the same, even as victims. As victims, do you realize how all the stuff? Let's fast forward it to George Floyd. Do you realize how many negative comments were like going around the internet about George Floyd on the anniversary of his death? talking about what was the one meme talking about 1 year sober, or all this kind of stuff. And if he was a drug addict, let's break that down. The methamphetamine and fentanyl and black tar heroin crisis, according to our former president, was all about white folks. And and by that time it was an epidemic when there was crack cocaine going into the cities in the early 80s, supplied by the Iran Contra affair and courtesy of President Ronald Reagan. Then all of a sudden these were horrible people that deserved to go to jail. We had all kinds of new laws, 3 strikes laws, and all this. If you got caught with so much cocaine, crack cocaine was criminalized, and powder cocaine was misdemeanor, slap on the wrist. So don't sit up there and act like you don't realize what's going down. And now is the time. We can't keep quiet about this stuff no more. Everybody got to support Kwame Brown. Everybody should be supporting that man. And and I sit up there, how can you not support him? And Stephen A., that's how you got a job. That's why you happy about it. You were paid to destroy that man. You're paid to destroy other athletes, to talk about how they ain't no good and this, that, and the other thing, but they worth millions of dollars to Mr. Charlie. I mean, come on, let's talk about it. How you going to be in the NFL? Just like take the NFL once again, for example. How you going to be in a violent sport and none of the contracts are guaranteed? And why aren't the contracts in football guaranteed? Because it is a rough and violent sport, and they want you to play and give up your body until it can't give anymore, and then they let you go and forget all about that you were ever there. Huh? And the NBA, what was it about? It's about the money. Oh, these young guys. All of the high school, I remember there was like one, I think it was like Moses Malone was the one high school player, like who came straight out of high school and went into the league. But a lot of people didn't do it, so it wasn't a big deal. There were and I think in Kwame Brown's year, there were like 5 or 6 guys that came straight out of high school. And Kobe Bryant came straight out of high school. And they talked about how, none of them are ready. They're not ready to play in the big league or whatever. But they don't say anything about it in baseball. Kids come straight out of high school and go into baseball. Kids come straight out of high school and go into ice hockey. People come straight out of high school and go into soccer and sports like that. But there's so much money involved in the NFL and the NBA. That's why I don't watch it. That's why I boycott it, and I encourage y'all to boycott it. You should boycott these sports because all they're doing, and because we're the people that are supplying all of the money. Why are we watching? Just like we watch Fox. Why does anybody watch Fox? Explain that to me. Why do y'all watch all those programs? And now they got Fox Soul. For real? And all they're doing is taking the money from that and they're putting it into Major League Sports. That's what it is. Come on, y'all. Let's open up Pandora's box right now. Let's open up the box and find out what's inside of there. Because that's what it is. This whole thing is an orchestrated plot. It's an orchestrated plot, and it reeks of racism and discrimination and white nationalism and white supremacy. The only thing that we're allowed to excel at is on those fields, and as soon as we give Mr. Charlie something to be mad about, then all of a sudden there's no reason, to pay this person. Oh, we told you he was a bad person. You take young kids out of the hood and give them millions of dollars. And they don't know anything. What do they know besides what they learned on the street? And that's not saying that, that's just saying that's where it was. That's where they were. And then y'all talk about them about how they got all this money, and y'all jealous of them because they got all this money and stuff like that. Why? That's because that's the only way they have up and have out. The same thing is true in the music industry and in the entertainment industry. That's the only thing that's there in the music and entertainment industry, is that, look, we can offer you this big money contract, and then we watch you lose it all, and we laugh at you, and we make a few people, we make a few people that come out and we say, well, this was a great guy, because he was a high character guy. And I've heard that terminology used over and over again. Oh, he was a high character guy. And when they come out, they have nobody to talk to. They have nobody to turn to. Everybody around them all of a sudden turns into gold diggers and whatever. That's what happens. And then they want everybody to be a bust. Why? So they'll go into the developmental league, and then what? They don't have to pay then I can get him later, because he's still the same player. I can get him later at a lesser cost. Or I don't draft him like what went on in the NFL draft. I don't draft him, so then I could sign him, and he's just grateful to have a job. So I could sign him for league minimum or for a lower price. It's about the money. And then when you wake up and you find out there's a certain amount of guys that have guaranteed contracts, and then everybody else, their contracts aren't guaranteed. And you're playing one of the most violent sports ever. There, you could get hit one time and that's it. And then you have no more career. You have no more way of supporting your family. And then I can't even, and what's really funny is I can't even remember what's the white boy that was married to the black girl? And he beat her behind and left her to die. And when she was still living, he said, "Oh, you still alive?" And nobody is saying. That's why I can't even think of his name. They shuffled everything under the rug so fast it made your head swim. So fast it made your head swim. And then all these guys like the Stephen A's and all that stuff. Like, that's why I ain't never liked you. And I understand he's my frat brother, but I don't like him, because the reason why I never liked him, because all you do is talk down and talk bad about people. And why is it that the white announcers don't talk down on white players? The black announcers talk down on black players. I never heard Troy Aikman talk down on any of the white guys in the league. Everybody just pumps them up, tells you how great they are and all this kind of stuff. And they believe in that system of the great white hope. That's what they get paid to sell. And y'all get paid to sell demonism and diabolicalism. These probably ain't words, but on the black players in the leagues. And everybody is just doing the best that they can. But I never thought this stuff would come out. I never thought there'd be somebody, not a player that had the platform and really the balls enough to say it. So I salute you, Kwame, and keep on, brother. Fastest 15 minutes is up. My name is Judson Powell. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit all the buttons, but most of all, hit the love button.